Hello everybody, good day to you. Welcome back. Glad you guys are here. I know, I'm super glad to be here. This video is the part 2 of this, I think it's an 05 Ford F-150 with 5.4 Triton 3-valve V8. That's the one that I had the infamous timing chain rattles and oil pressure problems and a few other issues. Anyway, once upon a time in this truck, this engine blew up and somebody recently replaced it with some type of remanufactured unit. There's some issues with the install in this reman. One of which, actually many of which, is the install was horribly botched. And they broke things like sensors, they broke the O2 sensor, they had the wires routed incorrectly, and there was manifold linkage that it couldn't adjust when it was commanded by the ECM. There are a litany of trouble codes in this thing. It took an entire video of diagnosing this and tearing it down yesterday to figure out what exactly the deal was. We have a good path to go on. Basically what I'm going to do here is fix all the broken stuff that was neglected or fraudulently repaired. For example, the guy, I said fraudulently, that was probably not the wrong word or the right word. The installers broke this O2 sensor off, and rather than replacing it, they just stuck the piece back on and shipped it and let it go on about its business. So what we're gonna do, the strategy is to repair and replace all of the stuff that was deliberately or negligently, there's that word again, to negligently broken and installed improperly. We're gonna put the thing back together, we're gonna restart the engine, and then we're gonna go drive it, reevaluate it, and see if there's any further or additional repairs that are gonna be required on this truck to get the thing back in a good operating condition. So, like I said, this is the part 2 of this particular truck. If you wish to go back in time to revisit part 1, or if you missed part 1, just check the link down in this video's description, or you can go into the comment section, and the pinned comment at the top will also take you to a link that will take you back in time to this video's part 1. So stay tuned, because this is going to be a very good video. Opening the hood. Look who that guy is. All right, now that all that's out of the way, let's go ahead and get started here. We have some parts that have showed up. Everything's been delivered. I have a set of replacement intake manifold gaskets, and I had to order a set to replace those with because some super genius out there decided that it was more beneficial to this engine to put RTV silicone sealant on the gasket surface on the new gaskets when they installed the engine. So those are junk. Unfortunately, I had to get a new set. So we have a new set of the gaskets. I have here a replacement cylinder head temperature sensor because we found this one busted clean off, and we just ignored that because, hey, it's under the intake manifold. Nobody's gonna ever notice that. Somewhere around here, I also have a replacement O2 sensor for Bank 1 Sensor 1. That's on this side of the engine, cylinders 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's the sensor in front of the catalytic converter. So we have an O2 hanging out for that thing. So like I said a moment ago, the first thing we're gonna do is get all the broken stuff reinstalled, repaired, put back together. We're going to reroute these wires as best we can and try to get them in the factory locations. That way there's no conflict of components when it comes to that manifold linkage back there on the intake. Once all that stuff is put away to my satisfactory, we'll go ahead and get that intake manifold back into this valley and in position. We'll get everything hooked back up, and then we can restart the engine to check and see if this thing's gonna have any future trouble codes. Now keep in mind, from the first video, I had made mention of a rattle noise, like a brrr on startup, and I believed it was an internal sounding type of noise. There's a possibility that the fuel trims on this thing and the cam position is so far out of whack, or out of specifications rather, that it was causing that rattle on startup. It's also possible that that rattle is caused by a cheapo camshaft phaser under the valve cover here. But we won't know about that until the engine is back to life and the ECM is happy with everything that's going on. So like I said, we're gonna fix what's staring at us in the face, and then if further repairs are going to be required, we can go and move into that direction at that time. All right, starting off, let's go ahead and get the broken half of this cylinder head temp sensor removed from the clip, and I probably can't do that with just my hands. I think I need to pry that out somehow, some way. Or not. Super flangey strength. All right, so there's the broken connector side. Now we need to fish out that cylinder head temp sensor right here. I had called it a coolant temp sensor the other day. I mean, it could be the same thing, but this is the one that tells the ECM how hot the engine actually is. Sometimes you're gonna find that there's 2 coolant temp sensors on an engine, and one can just be for the gauge on your dash, and then the other one sends a signal to the ECM so it knows how hot it is for its fuel mapping strategies. I do not know if there's coolant behind here. There might be. I mean, taking a look at the new sensor, it appears that there's some coolant in there. So let's just back this out a little bit. If it starts to leak, then we'll know, and if it doesn't leak, then we'll know. Make sense? It does to me, and that's dry. So there is no coolant in that hole. That's good. Or there's no coolant in the engine, but I don't think so. Okay, I would like to try something that I saw on a video the other day. I figure this is a good opportunity to try this out, since we've just learned that there is no coolant down in that hole, so the seal on these threads is not remarkably critical. However, I don't like to put threads in without something on it, so I'm gonna put a little bit of something as a sealant on there. It appears that this is some kind of RTV silicone sealant. We're not gonna do that. There's really no need to. You can see it there. It's just there. One could say, all right, put some Teflon tape on it. Okay, well, we could, but that's not okay either. What I saw on the interwebs is someone took Teflon tape, and rather than just wrapping it around, what they did is they made like a string. I don't know if this is valid or if this works or if this is a good idea or a bad idea. That's why I'm doing this right here on the camera, because I want you guys to give me some feedback as to whether this is a viable method or not for sealing threads. But what you do is, they say you take your tape and wrap it up as a string, and then use that little string business. Let's see if I can't pull this off. It looked easier on the video that I saw. I don't know if I can do it. But they ran the little string thing that they made all around the threads. That's not gonna work. That's stupid. Let's try again. Hang on. Maybe we'll try something else. Maybe I can cut it in half and get a smaller one. Rip it in half? Sure. Let's try that. Make a smaller string. Twist it up. Like I said, this is just what I saw, so I don't know if this is a good idea or not. It might be a horrible idea and it's gonna leak everywhere. I think you guys see what I'm trying to accomplish here. Like so. Is this okay to attempt a seal with the Teflon tape? I wrapped it around, then we just kind of smushed it and smoothed it out. Do you guys think that this is okay for a thread seal on a sensor or a fastener or anything of that nature? Again, let me know in the comment section down below. I realize that's a experimental idea, because I've never done such things, but I figured it couldn't hurt because it's gonna thread in. Those are very coarse threads. And again, there's no sealant there, coolant, liquid. So in theory, that should be acceptable, right? Maybe, right, wrong, indifferent? Nobody knows. Well, someone out there knows.
That's the definition of getting into your work.
Ah, never heard that before.
20 minutes later.
All right, where was I? Tool guy came by to chit chat, sell me some Milwaukee stuff. I didn't need anything today, plus I'm busy. So we were, where were we? I forgot what we were talking about. Something about thread sealant. Oh, that's tight, but I want to go a little bit more. That way it's like even right here. Because if it was not even, it would moderately bother me. Anyways, let's fix this wire convolute business here. Protect these wires some. I'll wrap some tape around it, I suppose. I don't think I have any more of this small sized wire loom, so I need to acquire some. but I'll reuse this. I'm gonna tape it up some so it stays good. Then we can plug this guy in. It better plug in. Yeah, we'll plug that in, and then we'll move on to the next piece of destroyed installation equipment. All right, coming in with our tape. This is not that rubberized electrical tape stuff that gets all mushy and squishy. It's a cloth tape designed specifically for wiring harnesses. So all we're gonna do here is just throw a little bit of this this tape over this convolute, seal this bit of loom right back up, and we should be good to go here. That is one piece of damage repaired. And that should be pretty good right there. I don't know if I can tear this. Yep, sure can. Okay, that one's fixed up. Let's give it some squeezes, make our tape adhere properly, and get that unit clicked and plugged in. Good. So the next one on my list, and what I think is the most critical in this particular situation, is going to be the O2 sensor wire. If you recall from the end of the last video, I was trying to inspect this for like actual wire damage, and I couldn't find anything. I gave this thing a slight tug and it brought the entire O2 sensor, or half of it, brought that up with the connector. So I ended up ordering another O2. I have that in the box behind us. So what I want to do is we're gonna raise this truck back up and pop out that old O2 sensor that's broken off. We'll stick the new one in. It's not a Ford Motorcraft sensor. I had to get a Denso. It's as close as I could get. The Motorcrafts were not available. They're all out of stock, and I'm fairly certain they're all out of stock because the guys that are building things are not. They're not building them right now. They're all not. They're striking. That's what they're doing. So we've got our new sensor here. Connector looks like it is appropriate for that Ford style female side of the connector. Let's run this truck in the air, swap this unit out, and then we will continue moving on up. Oh, we have maximum altitude achieved right there, looking good. Let's set her on our locks for some safety. Double lock action. Back down below, let's pop the sensor out. Okay, we are at the passenger side. This is the exhaust coming down from the manifold. Catalytic converter is directly overhead. Downstream O2 sensor is in the converter, and the upstream O2 sensor is this broken off piece right up there. So we're gonna try to get that guy busted out of there, and then we can thread in the replacement. Let us try to unkick this. I should have soaked this down last night with some oil, but I didn't. There we go. She came loose. That's nice. Better than not coming loose. That's good. I can't reach up there. Give it the old spinaroo. And there's the other half of the broken off O2 sensor. Got it. New 4-wire heated oxygen sensor getting prepped. I've got some Never Seas here. It's the copper flavor. That's what came with it. Give a little dab of that, and then we'll just feed this guy right up into that hole. Come around the back side here. Sensor in the bung. And we'll thread her in, tighten it down. Stick the connector up high so I can reach it from the back of the engine, and then we'll feed that connector in, we will connect it. There we go, words. I wasn't thinking, I was looking at this. We'll get it connected and then try to mount it as best as we can. I don't know where all the clips are, where these wires were supposed to mount up. They just seem to be dangling in there all willy-nilly like, so we need to put that stuff away so it doesn't get caught up on the IMRC, and try to undo what was already done. There we go. Wrench coming in. Give this some torque. No torque wrench required because you're not getting a torque wrench up there. A little bit more. And kick it. All right, that guy's in. That's tightish. Tight enough. Excessively tight. Whatever your opinion is. And we'll take, can't even see it. Bear with me, circumnavigating a Ford here. just stick this way up there as far as I can. It's probably gonna fall back down, but I know it's near. Yeah, that's close enough. All right, let's get out from under here. We'll let the truck back down, and then we can go back to plugging everything in and seeing how the rest of this goes. All right, out from under the truck, off the safety locks, locks disengaged, down button achieved, depressed, on our way down. All right, she's down, we're good. Let's get back inside and get that O2 connected to its connector. Back under the hood. Over there, down in that hole somewhere, there is an O2 sensor wire we just put in. So let me reach in there and try to fish her out. I hope there's enough wire here where we can make a connection. Yeah, there's our connector. So I need to get this guy plugged in here. See, this is what I was talking about. Look, I don't have, nor do I know where these are supposed to plug in. See that little little tab looking deal right there? Those are supposed to fit into some kind of a bracket, and this one does not have a home. So I think what I'll have to do is just find a place later on where it fits nicely and just zip tie it together. I don't know if I have any other choice. Or maybe, I wonder if it goes, oh, you know what, I found it. Look, there's a bracket right here. Let's get a light on there. There's a bracket right there. There's a bracket, that's where it goes. So I have this connected improperly. It has to go under this harness here. See, these are the details that really, really matter during a job. I know it seems inconsequential, but skipping out certain details like what direction the wire goes is the kind of thing that'll really get you in trouble. Let's get in a little closer, I'll show you here. Hope you guys can see what's going on. More light. There, now you can see. On the back of this tube is this little bracket. It didn't work. And on that bracket is where we press in the mount, or that is the mount for that O2 sensor wire. See that? That's where it goes, and that's how you stick your wires in. Let's see if there's one on the other side for that other O2 sensor wire. And I don't see it back there. I don't think there's another one. Okay. Yeah, it's not really looking like it. So I'll have to figure out where the other side goes. All right, well, that's good for now. We got that problem solved. Whew. Here, let's try to organize some of this business back here as best as we can. You can see we've got this little clip thing here. I'm assuming that's supposed to connect to either this steel line or perhaps this fuel line here. Either way, this harness has to go back and over, and I think this thing is going to clip to that hard line. I think it goes there like that. That's what seems the best. There's our fuel injector wire, the one that was hanging out and pulled super tight around the injector. And since that was pulling really tight, I got a feeling that I should be kind of trying to move this whole harness here over to the right ever so slightly. But it kind of runs into a snag over here on the left side, so I don't know if I can get it any farther unless it happens to be routed incorrectly around this coolant line here, which would upset me. I don't think it is. Yeah, I think that's okay. I'm gonna try to maybe pull it back and wrap it around a little bit farther. Couldn't hurt. Okay, yeah, look here. There's another missed wire mount. See that stud right back there? Well, that stud is supposed to house this little plastic clip which secures the harness. So that goes in there. They had that wrong. See, these are the details that matter. It's this little stuff that really hems you up in the end. And it did. And now we are at the end. So that's correct. This wire is good. Let's just tuck that back a little neater and out of the way. More neatly. Tuck it back more neatly. More neatly-er. More neatliest. whatever. That's the IMRC. That's where it goes, that's where it goes, that's where it goes, this is where it goes. The only one really in question is the end of this O2 sensor wire here, but I'll try to button that up from the bottom side. So we'll just stuff that down in the hole there. So this all appears to be where it needs to be. I think this is good. We'll tuck that down. We'll pull this up and stick that over there so we don't lose it. Everything looks good. Let's go re-gasket the lower intake or the intake manifold, and then try to get this thing back in position here. Let's see. Gasket set. I've already thrown the old gasket set or gotten rid of it. It's off the engine. I think that's not okay. There's some sealant on there. Let's rub that off. Get rid of you. I don't even think that's on a sealing surface. No, it's not. That's just leftover spillage or whatever. Scrape all that business off. Just send some air through it. There, that's sufficient. There we go. All right, let's take our gaskets and set these units up on the ports here. They're gonna clip in. See the little clips right there? They're gonna feed into those holes and clip in. They're gonna stay connected. Well, they should. They better. There's 3 right here on the back side. Let's get those guys lined up. And then a couple more on the front side here. Snap it all into place. There's this one there. Get in there, you. All right. That one's a little reluctant to stay, but it's not gonna fall off. That side's fine. Let's get this other one on the other side, and then we'll drop this intake into its home. All right, we're coming in over here. I'm gonna climb up on the overhead creeper. We're gonna drop that intake manifold down in there, wiggle it into position, and we'll get her bolted in. But first, I wish to make certain that I have no debris in my intake holes. I'll blow them out real quick. Nothing. Clean. Check the other side. Nothing. Clean. All right, intake coming in. All right, manifold. Let's get this unit down in position here. This is going to be a tight squeeze because this is a very large sized manifold, but we just kind of lower it right on down in there, guide it in. Pay in mind to not smash sensors or wires or get things pinched. You're not going to shove it. So like, see how it stops? You don't just stand on it and shove it in there. Maneuver it. Set it down in position. Take our time. Visually inspect everything to make sure the proper clearances have been achieved. And in short, use due diligence. Okay, the intake has landed. It's in position. Feeling good, looking good. Let's get the bolts set up and in place. Okay, so I'm taking, whoa, gravity. I'm taking a look at this harness back here, and I think we're in good shape. What I want to do is pull this harness upwards because it has a tendency to fall down and then lay on that linkage. So I'm going to pull this up, and we're probably going to zip tie it to the fuel rail right here. I'll suspend it with some zip ties. I think there should be something that secures it, but whatever it's supposed to be secured to is not there. Maybe there's a bracket. So I'll use some zip ties here to keep this harness off of those 2 linkage rods that are down there. Before we proceed to anything further though, I need to make sure that the vacuum booster hose is connected. Now this guy connects onto this intake way back and down here, and I hope you guys can see where my fingers are going. I can't even feel it anymore. But right around here somewhere in the back of this manifold is the other end of this hose connection. You can't connect this hose to the manifold and sneak it in because these lines get in the way. But what I need to do is reach back in there and figure out how to get that guy hooked up, press the hose onto the fitting, and then we'll put it back on its little bracket here, and then we can plug it back in. So if you guys can't see what I'm doing, I do apologize. Grab toss. I do apologize if I can't capture this moment as I would like to, but you know, it is what it is. There's stuff in the way, so can't record everything. That's just how it goes. That is the way the cookie crumbles. Okay, I feel it. My left middle finger is on the nipple, and I can feel the hose, and they're aligned, I think. I'm just kind of pushing it in. I can feel the hose going over the fitting. So the back of the vacuum line is on. All I need to do is push the bracket down over that stud, which is easier said than done. And stuff does not fit very well. It's all tight squeezes. Bracket's on. Let me go reach back and check the hose. That feels good. Awesome. Now we can plug it in to our booster right here. And that is our vacuum supply line for brake booster, and it also has a little tee off for the fuel pressure sensor that goes on the rail right here. That's gonna plug in right there, but we'll do that later. Okay, couple zip ties coming in real quick like. Let's secure this harness a little bit higher up. I'm gonna use 2 of them here because 2 is 1 and 1 is none. So we wanna make sure it doesn't break and fall off in the future, and then we end up in the same situation. So we're not going to make it super tight. We're just going to suspend it a little bit with these zip ties. See how we're doing that there? Just kind of zip tied the thing up, and now that's nice and secure. It won't fall down. Won't be a problem. One thing that would be a problem though is if we forget to plug in that IMRC motor. If you recall, we tucked that connector in back in the corner over to our left. I'm fiddling with it, but you guys can't see. It's really dark in here. So there's the connector. I need to slip it down underneath that fuel rail because it was wrapping around. Lumens. Oh, this is not fun. Okay. That's in the right spot, and the IMRC is down here in the middle of the manifold, and I can touch the connector with my finger. So we're just gonna slip this guy back down and try to snap the guy in. And I know you all can't see back there. Please don't click away. Okay, got it. That's connected. Good to go. Okay, this is the moment that matters. This was our super stretched out number 8 fuel injector wire, and this is the one that was wrapping down and around the linkage of that IMRC. You can see with this thing raised up and the harness pulled over, there is enough slack to plug this thing in without stretching it and running the thing super sideways. Good to go. Number 4 injector's connected. Let's get the rest of this business reconnected. Starting with this fuel line right in front of us. We don't need that thing dangling around anymore. Plug you in, fuel line. Snap that, that's good. So everything's looking good. All the wires and hoses are routed properly. I like this. This is gonna work out. Let's go ahead and start dropping our bolts in, and we'll come through with the ratchet and the 10 mil and get this thing securely fastened down to the cylinder heads. So there's one of our bolts. Starting the threads here. I found the hole. There we go. One bolt, second bolt, dropping down underneath the fuel rail. This actually should have had me pull the fuel rail off to get this thing apart, but you know, I cheat, so I left it on. That's fine though. I can maneuver these into where they're supposed to go. Next bolt, down in that hole right there, that's where she goes. And we've got, looks like just 2 more on this side here. One up front, drop that one in, get her started. And the last one on this side, we gotta sneak this unit in. Let's see if we can just drop it straight down. That'd be cool. Just drop it right in. Watch this. No. Yeah, that didn't work. Epic failure. See, I tried to show off. Didn't work out. Recover. Slip it down right in there. See that? That one's in. Rotate. Okay. The 5 on this side are in. Let's scooch on over and get these other side dropped into place, then we'll tighten them up. Right side of the engine, which is left side of the camera. Same situation. Dropping in the bolts. Let's get them started. I'm still laying on this overhead creeper and it compresses the chest. It makes words hard to form. Drop that one in. Tighten you. Alright, that's 2. Number 3. See if I can't drop it straight down like the other side. Oh, got that one. That was fun. 2 more on this back side here. The one in the back, we can reach that one. That one's in the hole. And that one right there, down in that hole, that should be fun. Let's see, where's my my fastener? That one. It's that one there. So this one, I'll go into her left-handed, reach down. If I didn't know where these holes were, I'd have a hard time locating them. I've got some experience with figuring that out, so it seemed flawless. I hear folks say, you make it look so easy, and I'm like, I've been plugging these holes for a long time. Got plenty of veteran experience in the industry. Okay, that one started. And let me recheck my rear one. Yeah, that one's also started. Got to make sure they're all threaded in before we start applying torque. Yep. And I'm going to start torquing this side right here. Switch out our ratchet. Draw that one down. Clicks. That one. Move back to this one. Missed it. So much for experience. Bounce right off the rim. Get that one over there. Moving forward. Back to the rearmost bolt on the driver's side. And its counterpart. Okay, 2 up front. Clickage. Let's recheck them all real fast. That one's tight. That one feels good. Bring it up on a little bit of extra torquage here. That one's good. So on and so forth. I'll be back later. That was a 10 mil. Okay, now that we're done losing tools, let us go ahead and start reconnecting all of our coils and injectors and all that stuff that was disconnected earlier. So we've got number 4 coil is on, or injector is on. This one is our number 3. I'm sorry, that's 8, 7, 6, and 5. It's number 4 in a row. You know what I meant. Let's get these guys plugged in, reconnected. Same thing with the coils, and then we'll go for the hoses. Then we'll go back to that side, get the intake throttle body on. That. And hopefully the rest of this job's gonna go super smooth with no problems. It's a no problem. That's our evap connector. We'll just slide that right on back and out of the way. This guy plugs into this one, but I don't know where its little securement bracket device is. There's supposed to be something that secures these guys. That one gets secured. Hang on, look at this. We're still not routed properly. That plugs in here. See that? That means the other one plugs in on that back side. Stick you on right there. That's good. Okay. And then one more. Yeah, I don't know where this is supposed to go. There's supposed to be something that this thing clicks into, and it's not. It's just not here. There's nothing to bracket this little wire on. I don't get it. Oh well. I suppose I'll just run this down under here and connect it like so, and I'll just leave this bracket here without a home. I don't have, there's nothing here to mount it to, so I don't really know. I can zip tie it on. Just chuck it down in there. That should be okay. Then this one, fuel rail pressure sensor. That one clicks on there, and then there's incoming vacuum hose. We talked about this guy earlier. Wiggle that guy on, that's in position. All's looking well. Let's get the other PCV hose attached and run back down to this driver's side valve cover. And then this side should be all set up and good to go. So, take our hose here. I think we're gonna snap it on the valve cover side first because that's under this little plate. So we'll stick that guy. Can you guys see down there? Not really. There's no lumens on this truck and nothing to see. No visibility. Horrible job. And then we snap you right there. Clicks, clicks, and double clicks. All right, this side is all set up, buttoned up, good to go, with the exception of the throttle body connector, which we can do that after we get the throttle body on, and we can do that after we pluck this gasket out and drop the new one in. Oh, look at that, it came right out. I was about to get aggressive with the pliers. Put you down there. Fetch our throttle body real quick like. Set you in position. 4 bolts on the throttle body unit. Do I have this right? I don't know. Sure. I hope I do. Where does that plug into? Not here. I have something wrong. You go into this one. So if it does, I've got something wrong because my wires again are not reaching. And that's not where that goes. I've lost a connector. Hang on here. Confusion. This definitely points that direction. We know that. It doesn't fit the other way, so let's just secure. Oh no! I'll be back. All right, intermission over. I found the stupid thing that I dropped. It was on top of the AC compressor. That was fun. I also dug out the connector that I had neglected to remember earlier. So, is that the right one? Yes. Let's connect that connector. Get on there, please. Clickage. Okay, that connector's on. I have all 4 of the bolts, including the one that I dropped. Let's not repeat history and drop them again, Ray. That was fun. It took a very long time to figure out where that thing went, and I couldn't see anything. I was just down there kind of feeling around, looking for the sweet spot. I found it. Oh, and then I had to fish the thing out with a magnet. So let's get our throttle body tightened down here. Moving on. Game on, Wayne. Pickage. Thrice. Last one. Okay, it's all set. Throttle body is installed and attached. We have one more connector on this side, and I do not know where it has gone to. It's around here somewhere. We'll find it. Is that it? No. Ah, there it is. It's right over here, dangling to the left. So that's gonna come up and over, click you in. And again, there's another one of these clips that doesn't seem to have anywhere to go. Because we've got the wire here, comes off the harness, but there's really nowhere to connect that. It's a casualty of war, I suppose. Either way, let's proceed. I need to go ahead and get the fuel injectors reconnected on this side. There's two of them. Right there, the one up in the front. Let's get you on, and then there's the one out back. Okay, those guys are good, and then the one way out back, I don't know where that connector is either. I stuffed it aside and it's hiding out. Let's get you snapped into your position there. Okay, all four injectors are on, all four coils are on, both sides. Throttle body's on, vacuum system is attached, connected, all good to go. Let's get the alternator back in position, and then we'll get that guy hooked back up as well. All right, alternator coming in. Now we can see the bottom of this alternator where the two bolts go through. These are slotted, so we don't have to remove the bolts from the front of the engine. All we need to do is leave those two bolts hanging out right here and right here, and then we'll just set that alternator down in position and slide it over those two bolts, and we will tighten them down after we get the top bracket on. So let's fetch the bracket, swing this thing into position here, and we'll start with the connectors just to get that stuff out of the way. I need to flip this bracket around because this gets pointed that direction. Slide that under the hose, and then we'll get our controller connector snapped in. That's right there. Back our sheathing off some. Push it back, wiggle that back. Come here. Get that on top there, and we need to find the nut. I think it fell off. I don't know where it is. Yeah, we'll get that nut in a second. I've got multiple fasteners here that need to go in, so we'll just start with those guys. They're all 10 mil, small little guys. Get those dudes all set up in the alternator, and that's going to align and locate the alternator, and then we'll start to run down. Then we can run down the bottom bolts, and that will draw this alternator in flush with the block. And then we'll come back up here to the top and tighten up these top bolts here. So let's get that guy in. And coming down in the hole behind. Let's get in there. We're going behind our hose here. Tight squeeze. Oh, bad view too. Hang on, fellas. Get that guy a little tighter. Clickage. Next one. Oh, nice and tight. A little bit tighter, I think. That wasn't much. Get back on there. There we go. Okay. That one's in. Let's get the top ones next. Last one here for the nadir. Need to find that nut. Well, I have no idea where that nut went, so I'm just going to substitute that nut with another nut. It's the same kind of nut, but the one that was in there, I don't know where it went, so we're using this one now. I'm sure I'll find it after we're all done here. Now I'm hanging on to this because I think if I put torque on this little fitting, it could break it off, so I'm pushing. That way my torque does not fatigue this plastic business right here. So now we just got to take our little sheathing thing to protect the electrons. Put that on right there. That's in good shape. Let's get the belt set up next. It's mostly ready to go. It came off the power steering over here to our right. That's just been resolved. It's all still lined up and in position. So let's go ahead, pull the tensioner back up and over the alternator. And right here below, right below us there, on that pulley, we'll tension it some more, push it under that idler pulley and gravitas, and that belt is installed with the exception of, we are one rib off on that idler. There we go. And a little bit off right here too. Okay, belt's in, that's all set. Moving on. All right, belt's on. Let's get the air filter housing assembly in position here. It's gonna bolt in with these 4 bolts, 2 on this side, 2 over on the passenger side. Let's get these guys started. Got one connector unit up top. That's where that random plug went to. I knew we would find it. Second bolt, and then 2 on the other side here. We're in the home stretch now, everybody. Line up, get in there. That's good. And we still have one more PCV hose that needs to go in as well. So let's get these brackets tight, these bolts tight. That one's not, that didn't hook up. There, get in there. Clickage, put this one over here. Twice clickage. I have to use the wobble feature on the end again because that guy right there. Tight. Number 4. And we have got to not forget or not neglect PCV. This guy's gonna click in, do the valve cover here, and it goes this way. Valve cover here, and then up onto this little nipple right up here. So snap that one in, and let's see how this gets routed. I think it goes under, it's gonna go under that hose, yes. And then into the valve cover, passenger side valve cover. Put that in. Then we've got this little guy. Remember we were looking for that earlier. That's gonna snap on right there. So we're nearly in a position to hit the key and get this thing running again. Let me grab some tools off of here. Got my magnet. Toss that aside. And we can get our intake unit on. I've taken the opportunity when you guys weren't looking to kind of redo those connections on those wires. I'm feeling better about that stuff. Let me get my tape out of here. That unit plugged in there. Plug it in right here. And then we've got one 10 mil fastener right there that secures this whole pipe assembly bit of business right here. Let's get that guy started. Zip it in. There, that one's in. Looking good, flashlight recovered. Let's clean the mess out of here and go hit the key. Okay, let's get her back up in the air real fast. Do one more underside inspection. Then we may break out the scan tool. We'll pull up the data pits, start the engine, and then first thing we're gonna do is watch those fuel trims start to trend positive because that O2 sensor is going to be functioning as designed. I think that's gonna solve the majority of the issues with this. After a bit of a test drive or a few test drives, we can reevaluate whether or not we need to do anything with that camshaft actuator. You know, the sprocket that we mentioned many times in this video and in the previous video. We'll check up on that engine condition later on. Right now we want to get all the sensors talking to each other, or talking to the ECM rather, and doing what they're supposed to be doing. That's the plan. On the lock. Safe kickage. There we go. Okay, down below here, one of the first things that we were noticing when we first inspected this is how this was just kind of dangling around, and they had it connected here on that loop. That's not where it goes. So let's disconnect. Come here. Come disconnected. There we go. Disconnect that, and I want to put this, I believe it goes right here. So you got the 2 holes and then the 2 pegs, so it makes sense that it goes there. Since we know that goes there, we now know that this goes here. So that's now reconnected properly. Now looking back up at the top, you recall there was one spot for that other little plastic little business, and I'm not sure where that went. I kind of want to plug it into here, but this isn't really routed the best. Oh look, more of it. Look at that one. See that one? A little wire, little peg thing that goes in that bracket. See that? I had that one wrong. That one looks good. Why is there a it's all burnt up and nasty. It's the shift cable. That doesn't go there either. I need to zip tie that away. See how it's sitting on the exhaust? I'm gonna zip tie it there just to keep it away from the exhaust. Only solving problems before they become problems. It's a bonus. So let's see what we'll do. I'll run this zip tie through transmission belt housing. Pull that guy up in gravitas. That didn't work. Trying again. Similar concept that we did on the wiring harness up at the top. We'll just kind of zip tie this up to help bring it away from that manifold. See that? There, that's better. So now it's not laying on the exhaust. That's good. Solve that problem. And then taking a look at this side, that O2 sensor wire, that's all buttoned up and in position where it should be. So we are good there. That makes me happy. Oh look, it has a broken sway bar link. It's not really broken, it's missing the rubber out of it. See that? I bet that makes noise too while driving. How's this side? Busted off. Yepper, that one's junk too. All right, it's looking good down here. Let's get out of here, let her down, fire up the stand tool, and hit the key. Get this thing started back up. Open. All right, climbing back in here. Get the keys back out, fire the scanner tool up. Scanner danner. Let's see here, where's our dongle little connector? OBD2 right here. Plug you in, beep. Scanner's powering on. Go ahead and key it on. I'm gonna pull up fuel trims first, and we wanna take a look at our fuel trim. We're gonna watch that thing start to immediately shoot positive. We're also gonna take a look at that O2 sensor. That's where I wanna start with. Then we're gonna clear the codes out, go out and drive it, see what comes back up, and if more codes come back up, then we have to continue diagnosing and make additional recommendations. If nothing comes back up, I'm gonna give the car back and tell them to keep on driving it until something comes back up, and then we can make additional recommendations. When I start this engine, I'm going to get a quick snapshot up front to make sure, or to see whether or not we hear that rattle noise on startup. It's been parked, engine shut off for 2 days, today and yesterday. So that should be enough time to create the conditions that caused that rattle. So what we'll do that right now while this stuff's all pulling up. We want, what do we want here? We're looking for, I want fuel system, emissions fuel, there we go. Continuing, come on. Okay, scrolling down to fuel trims, fuel trim. Long terms, oh, they're at 0 right now. Probably because it's engine off, whatever though. We'll come back to it real quick and we should see that fuel trim being stored. Anyway, let's go over here. I'm gonna reach in, hit the key. We're gonna observe for this rattle real quick and then go from there. All right, let's get to it. Beginning engine starting sequence now. No cutscene. Okay, I heard no rattle. We got a misfire. Whoa, we got a lot of misfire. What is this? Okay, let's check our connections. Maybe something's disconnected. Shut her down. A little bit of poking around. I don't think I had that injector plugged in all the way. So let's try it again. See if we killed our misfire that I just created. Restarting the engine. Hey, she's smooth again. Okay, let's get back after that data as quickly as possible. Trying to not break the scene here. No cut scenes while we're trying to view live data. Let's see what we get. Scrolling down, scrolling down, scrolling down. Fuel trims, look at that. Look, we were super negative. Long terms on number 2 are still in the negative, but short terms on number 2, look at that. They're seriously positive. We're like max 30, max 40, 45 positive. So that's gonna bring this long term up into spec. We'll give that a minute. Let's go pull up our graph real quick, and we would like to check the O2 sensor operation and see what's going on with our O2s. In the meantime, I'm gonna fire up climate control. Scrolling down to O2s, pull up the graph. We're gonna do a foregraph. And let's see, mass airflow at the top, get rid of that. O2 sensor, bank 1, sensor 1. Looky here, she's switching. High, low, sensor 2 and sensor 2, those are emulating each other, but more importantly, the sensor 1 on bank 2, also high, low. So we have an improvement here. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So what I'm going to do, we're going to go into codes menu. We're going to memory codes. We're going to clear them all out. Reset. Again, those are all of our DTCs. Heater circuits, system rich. Cylinder 3 injector fault, that's the one I just caused. Yep, cylinder 3 was disconnected, so we ended up with a P203. That happened real fast. Our 345 and 349, those are the camshaft position sensor circuit codes. Power steering, we got to get back to that one later. Intake runner stuck closed. Okay, so those all the codes that we had witnessed prior. Let's clear them all out. Clear. Key on and engine running. Check engine light off. Good to go. Codes cleared. Exit. Let's go ahead and shut her down. Beginning a restart. Go back into codes. I'm looking to not see anything. Let's see nothing. Oh no. Camshaft sensor circuit A, bank 2. Okay. It's back. And power steering pressure sensor circuit high. Alrighty, so since our 345 and 349 came back, also that 553 came back, power steering pressure sensor circuit high input. Since that came back, we are gonna have to diagnose this some more, but I'm still gonna go drive it. We're gonna pull up data afterwards, and we're just gonna make sure our fuel trims are back in line, because that was the issue with our lean problem. And I also want to see if we get that IMRC stuck closed trouble code back. Simply based on the fact that that 345 camshaft code came back, I'm wondering if there's a break in that wire somewhere. I checked out I checked out the butt connectors on that one side. I redid the 2 on the other side that Dave's got the door over yonder. I redid the 2 butt connectors on the other side that did not have heat shrink built into them, and I reconvoluted all of that stuff, and I wrapped it all back up. So that should be in good shape. I don't think that those connections are the cause, or the connector is the cause of that open circuit on camshaft sensor position 2. That's bank 2 driver side. But like I said, we're gonna have to go back to that later. I was hopeful that it ended up being a bad connection, or a crappy butt connector or something like that, but turns out that's not the situation at hand. So wow, there we go. Yeah, that car scared me when it drove by. Anyways, turns out that wasn't the situation. It wasn't a loose connection. Worst case scenario, there's a break in the wire. We can probably assume it's not the ECM. because it has a new ECM. We know it's not the connector, and we know it's not the sensor because that's a brand new sensor. I mean, I can swap it out with the other side just to confirm that, to make sure that's 100% not a sensor issue. We could have, or they could have, someone could have installed a faulty part right out of the box, but you never know. A simple sensor swap will eliminate that as a possibility. Anyway, we're approaching the bridge. We're gonna do the up and over, around and through thing, swing back to the shop, check our long-term fuel trims. Hopefully our bank 2 has restabilized near 0 and everybody's all happy. And then we can park this one and continue the diag tomorrow, because we do need to figure out that 345 code, and I'm not going to let it go with the camshaft issue, because we need to determine if this engine has a problem or not. It could be out of time for all we know. There could be an issue with that phaser and it's throwing that code. I don't think so, because I think it would have gave a camshaft correlation trouble code, not a circuit code. But again, you never know. Left turn coming up. Ah, fortune smiles upon me. Look at that. We got a green arrow coming in right here at the stop. That's good. I don't like waiting. Uh-oh, I see police. Law enforcement activity. Somebody got pulled over. I've seen that van before. I know that van. It's a double pullover event. They got Spectrum and a car. Maybe there was an accident. A collision. Fender bender. Here, red light here. Let's pull up our data real quick. Data. We're looking for sensor data. Still hanging out at the red. Emissions, fuel, O2s. Green light, but I can't go. There's other people going. I'll wait my turn, no worries. Let's pull up our foregraph, scroll it down to heated oxygen sensors. I'm still checking the traffic here. O2, bank 1. Yeah, they're still running well. Bank 1 right here, bank 1 right here, or bank 2, sensor 1, both of those, sensor 1, those are good. Pulling up our PIDs, let's go down to our fuel trims real fast like. I want to see these guys stabilize, and look at that. -9, -8. 10 is kind of my threshold for comfort. This is really good, much better than 28, 29, 30, 45, so our fuel trims have come much more positive, very close into spec. That's not going to throw a code, and like I said, plus or minus 10 on our long terms is exactly what we're looking for adequate fuel trims from our PCM. So at this point, like I said earlier, all we need to do is get that 345 code diagnosed. Worst case scenario, I need to run a new wire from the ECM. It's not the ECM, it's not the sensor, it's not the connector, I don't think. The fix for that is going to be to pull out the wiring diagram, disconnect the connector that runs to that camshaft position sensor, and we're just going to ohm out both wires, the positive and the ground. We're going to ohm those out on both ends. So from the PCM side, we're going to put a meter lead, and then down at the connector side we'll put another meter lead, check resistance on that circuit, and then switch it to the next lead, check resistance on that circuit. If resistance is good, we can load test it, and it's either going to be a wire that won't carry the load, or a faulty, or an open wire. Possible that we have a bad PCM, but I doubt it. I don't think it's that sensor, but I can swap that side to side to confirm or deny whether the sensor is the issue or not. So having said all of that, I have nothing more to offer you guys in this video except a giant thank you for watching this video. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, please feel free to let me know about that in the comment section down below. Do not forget to tap that like button while you're down there. And most importantly, have yourselves a fantastic day. I'll see you guys later. Into this video, into this transmission, into this Ford diagnostic procedure for now. We'll pick back up on this thing later on. I'll let y'all know at the very least what I find with that cam sensor. I may not make a video about it. I don't want to keep running videos on the same vehicles over and over again. I try to move on to something else. Let me know what you think about this thing again in the comments below. Thank you guys one more time for watching. Have a great day. See you guys in the next one. End of transmission.